Hi fam, thank you for watching. I wanted to come on today and do a review for the movie A Simple Favor. This one I actually watched on my Kodi app. I'm not sure if it's available on DVD yet, but it's been out quite a while and I want to do spoilers on it because this was a good movie and I need to get into everything that took place here. So I'm going to start with the actors, of course. We have Blake Lively, who's in this movie, and we know her from the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Of course, she's Ryan Reynolds' wife, and she plays the character of Emily Nilsson in this movie. Then we have Anna Kendrick in this movie. We know her from the Pitch Perfect movies, and also, of course, she was in the Twilight series. And her name is Stephanie Ward in this movie. And then we have Henry Golding, and we know him from Crazy Rich Asians, which I've already done a review on. If you haven't done so, please watch my review because that was an excellent movie. Okay. So basically, in this movie, the lead character Anna Kendrick, her character I said already, Stephanie. She is a widowed single mother. She has a son, and he's in elementary school, probably about 5 or 6 years old, and she vlogs from home. She has like a vlog, and she is like seriously an overactive mother. And what I mean is, like when they have this sign up sheet, to do different things at the school, she's trying to put her name in every slot. I mean, so much to the point where the teacher is telling her, please, no more than one, position do I want you volunteering for. And I mean, she has a whole helium tank at her house that she owns. Like, that's how serious she is with all the active stuff that she does. The other person in this movie is Emily, and that's the character that, like I said, Blake Lively plays. And here, Emily is, wow, where's my? Okay, so Emily, she is a severely confident, upper class working wife, and she also has a son in the same class as Stephanie. Man, let me get their name straight myself. Okay, so at the school is where they met, and Emily invites Stephanie over, and Stephanie is like sort of in awe of her. Like, she's a businesswoman, she dresses very classy. Blake Lively is a very beautiful woman, and she has her shit together. And when she comes over to her house, she's like, wow, your house is beautiful. And Blake is like, I need a martini. That's the whole reason she wanted her to come over. Anyway, they become quick friends, and basically, one night when they're sitting there talking, of course they always drink when they get together, like all of us women do. They're drinking, talking, and let me see, they start to share secrets. And specifically, let me see, oh, a side note real quick, Blake Lively's character, Emily, she is a PR director of a fashion company, okay? So when I say that she has her shit together with her clothes, this is the area she's coming from, because that's how much together she is, not just in work, but crossing over to life. Her style is sick, okay? Let me see. So like I said, they decided to share secrets, and Emily shares that, wow, man, I'm off on this one. Emily shares that basically she's like sort of disappointed in her husband's non-success lately. He is an English professor at a college, and he once, years ago, like 10 years ago, wrote a book that was a hit, a smash hit. And even Stephanie has read this book, like was able to go into detail about it. And she's like, ever since then, it's just like he's sort of cool with the English professor job that he has, career, and it seems like it's not up to par with her, mainly because they're somewhat in a financial slump, okay? So then Stephanie decides to share, and mind you, this Stepford wife type woman's had a few drinks in her, and she decides to share that years ago when she was a teenager, after her father died, after the funeral, when everyone gets together to eat, talk, her half brother, who she never knew about, shows up at the house, and she's freaked out. Her mom is really freaked out because her half brother looks like her father did like 30 years ago. So anyway, she ends up telling her that we kissed. And Emily is not here for the bullshit, okay? She's like, you fucked him. You fucked him. And, Anna Kendrick's like, no, he didn't. And she's like, yes, you did. And then finally she's like, okay, yes, we did. And immediately Emily is calling her a brother fucker. Okay, brother fucker. I'm like dying. That's hilarious to me. And, okay, so through this sharing, they decide they're going. Basically, Anna Kendrick's character offers her, anytime you need somebody to pick your son up from school, I can totally take him because I'm taking mine anyway. We do our thing at home and you can pick him up whenever you get a chance. And Blake Lively's character is like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, because, that's definitely a big thing for her, being that she works so much. She has tons of meetings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so basically, Anna Kendrick's character, Stephanie, is doing just that. She's picking the young boy up regularly after school. And then one day, she gets a call from Emily. And Emily is asking her, I need you to watch him because I have a catastrophe at work I have to take care of. Please watch him. And she's like, okay. Well, that day turns into 2 days. And those days turn into 3 days. And Stephanie's sort of losing it here, trying to figure out what's going on. And she has to, I don't know why she didn't call the husband directly at first. Maybe she had to find his phone number. I don't know. But she ends up talking to him on day 3. And, he's not aware of exactly what's going on because he's actually taking care of his mother somewhere else. His mother's ill. And they decide that he needs to call the police. So now Emily's character is officially missing. Okay, so through this, her husband comes back home. Emily's husband comes back home. Well, actually to Stephanie's house, where the kids are. And they end up meeting with the police there, getting all the stuff together. And they're like, do you have any pictures of her? And they're both looking at each other like, she never lets anyone take pictures of her, okay? And this is so much to the point that earlier in the movie, when Stephanie, sort of snapped a shot of Emily, Emily was like, did you just take my picture? And she's like, yes. And she's like, delete it, or I will slap a lawsuit on your ass, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay. So she deletes it. And it was a very awkward moment, but she don't want her picture taken. So, how do you actually file a missing persons report without a picture? So Stephanie decides to take it upon herself to go to Emily's job and try to get a picture, hopefully, of her there. And she ends up having to sneak in because after speaking to Emily's boss, who's a total ass, by the way. I mean, of course, he's a fashion upper snooty, just jackass. Anyway, she ends up having to break into the office, and there she finds this picture, and it's not a complimentary picture of her, but it's the only one that she has. So she takes it, and the picture itself says, I believe you got to have faith, okay? So anyway, she uses this, makes tons of copies of it, puts them everywhere, all over the town, and basically ends up having to go further. She, on her vlog, is talking about her best friend who's missing, and she gets someone sending a message in saying, I think I saw her in Michigan, which leads Stephanie to go, to Michigan to see what's going on. And ultimately, she ends up at Emily's parents' house, meets with the parents, figures out that Emily has a twin sister. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, identical twin sister. All right, so after this, she goes back home. Of course, she's still trying to do her investigative work, but then it comes up that the car that Emily left in is found, and it's pulled out of a pond, and lo and behold, there's a body in there. And the husband shows up there, they pull the body out, and of course, she has a tattoo that she had on her wrist, and he's looking for that because the body is, it's pretty messed up. It's been in the water for days, and he identifies her. Of course, it looks like her, but jacked up. And with the tattoo, he's able to say for sure that's his wife. So anyway, they have the funeral, and crazy enough, right after the funeral, after everyone gathers to eat, say their goodbyes, whatever, the husband, Henry Golding, he ends up sleeping with Stephanie. Like, they get it in. Okay, like, damn, this is some good stuff in this movie. Okay, so after this, they sort of become together. They do rather quickly. This is going. She ends up moving in with him, okay? And furthermore, let me see. We go through, she's still doing her investigative work, trying to figure out what happened here. And one thing I should also mention during one of their first conversations, Stephanie and Emily, when they were drinking, and Stephanie told her, you know, that basically she was a brother fucker, that she was living on the life insurance money that she got when her husband died. She basically broke it down and was like, basically, it's lasting to the year 2020. And Emily definitely took note of that, and apparently before she disappeared, her life insurance money had gone up immense, like they called it in and switched it, which of course had the cops looking like foul play is going on here. Anyway, there's a whole lot that goes on to take place here, back and forth. You actually see Emily meeting up with her husband, and he's like freaked out, like what the fuck. She's basically telling him that I'm doing this for insurance money, and she holds something over his head, you know, to keep him hushed, quiet. And basically, Stephanie had got a hold of the insurance company and secretly notified them that Emily had an identical twin sister. Okay, so what they divulge here, there's two things. For Emily, Emily and her sister burned down their house, part of their house that they stayed in. It's like there was a huge house, and then next to it was a smaller house that the girls, the twin teenager girls, lived in. And they burnt that sucker down and disappeared. So they left their parents with pretty much haven't saying a word. And the other thing that you should know here is that Stephanie, after she became that whole brother fucker thing, apparently her son is her brother's son. So her son's like her nephew. Ooh. Okay. So anyway, when he came around again after she was married to her husband and her half brother shows up, her husband immediately is on to like, what's going on here? Who is that? You said that's your brother. You guys don't act like that. And he's like, let's just take a drive. So he takes her half brother for a drive, and the car accident that they ended up getting into literally looked like it just smacked into like a medium thing on the highway, like as hard as possible, killing them both, okay? So it pretty much looks like her husband kills her half brother because he is not comfortable with the relationship that they have going on, okay? So a little more twists and turns here, and ultimately what we end up with is that Stephanie has to bait Emily by bringing her to the house and basically having her admit, you know, all the things that she did wrong in this. And basically they've wired that. She's wearing a wire. So Emily is caught in her tracks, stuck. Okay, they end up arresting her, taking her, and putting her ass in jail. And the crazy thing about that is she's flourishing in prison. Why not? I mean, she was definitely smart as hell along the way, and she seems to be able to adjust to any situation. And jail is no different for her than I guess any other place, because she can do it anywhere. This movie was really good. It was a thriller, I would definitely say. Andra Kendrick is an awesome actress, as well as Blake Lively. And I definitely love Henry Golding. He's so handsome. Oh my goodness. And the role he played. Anyway, you need to see this movie if you have not already. And I guess if I had to rate this one, I would give it about 7.5. 7.5 is good for this one. This is an R-rated film. You know, that's what you want to go by if determining if your children want to watch it. If you like my video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And you can also hit the alert if you would like to be notified whenever I have new material. Okay? Please watch this movie. I definitely think you like it. Thanks for sharing your time with me.